You got a gavel, that's what the gavel's for.
Calling this meeting to order, welcome everyone. If you could please stand for the pledge of the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. For announcements, I just wanted to point out that we have 3 board members, as you can see, are not here tonight, Tom, Stacy, and Gusta. And also that we prior to this meeting, we were in executive session to discuss an independent medical examination for an employee and the status of collective bargaining. Tonight is a study session, and there are no comments or public comments. At study session meetings, residents may attend the next scheduled business meeting on May 7th and/or contact the board via email at boe@shenschools.org with any comments or questions. All questions come into the Office of Public Information Officer and are shared with the board and/or superintendent as appropriate. Policy questions or concerns are typically addressed by the board president. Operational questions or concerns are typically addressed by the superintendent or designee. With that, can I have a motion to adopt tonight's agenda? First is Deanna, second is Petra. All in favor? It is 4 in favor. And item number 2 is our superintendent's report. Dr. Robinson?
Thank you very much, Mrs. Hoffman. And so I'm going to save some comments related to the state budget till the end of it, recognizing that, one, I see we have at least one student here tonight, and also we have a newly minted father who's, I'm sure his wife is anxiously waiting for him to return back, who's actually out and decided to come here tonight to do the presentation. So we'll just, first thing we'll do is first point of order, ask Mrs. Chase to come up and share with the Board of Public just some background on the 3 candidates that, per yesterday at 5 o'clock, are the 3 candidates running for the Board of Education.
Good evening.
No, I don't think so.
Better?
Yes.
Okay. Good evening. So we do have 3 board candidates. The first one is Joe Degoni of Half Moon, is seeking his first term on the Board of Education. He's currently an assistant professor of educational leadership at Russell Sage College and a retired senior executive officer from Capital Region BOCES. Joe holds a BS in music education and an MS in education, both from St. Rose. He also holds an MS and a Doctor of Philosophy in Educational Administration and Policy Studies from the University of Albany. Joe and his wife Janet have 1 child who currently attends Shen, and I believe Joe is here this evening. Okay. Next, we have Carla Thompson of Clifton Park, is seeking her first term on the Board of Education. She is a retired teacher of 33 years at Lakeshore Central Schools and a retired board member of Lakeshore Central Schools as well. She holds a BA degree in teaching and an MA degree in linguistics, teaching English as a new language, both from SUNY Fredonia. She and her husband Douglas are proud parents of 2 grown children. I don't think I saw him here. And third is Mary Colleen Liberty of Rexford, is seeking her first term on the Board of Education. She is currently a technical product manager at Cengage Learning. She holds a BA in Fine Art and Communications from Wells College and an MA in Fine Art and Communications, an MA in Fine Art from the University of Albany. She and her husband, Scott, are proud parents of a child who is a current student at Shen, and they didn't see either. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. So we have 3 candidates running for the 2 3-year terms on the board, and congratulations for those who made a commitment to serve on the board. I think board service is a great service, so thank you very much for that. We have a brief but yet sweet presentation, no pun intended, by the seed committee. So I just have Jean Lorch just introduce that, Jean, if you don't mind. Or whomever's going to introduce it, I don't know.
I think we're all gonna have a little bit to say, maybe not Katie, she's here as in a supportive role. So we wanted to come and gift something sweet to the board and Dr. Robinson and Dr. Wilson Turner for their support of everything that we do here, really. But SEED is honestly a coalition of people within and outside of the Shen community for the purpose of many things, but the bullets on the screen sort of speak to the big rocks. It's a great opportunity because it is a partnership between the school and the community for our students to see some real world applications of the things that they learn in their science classes, specifically related to sustainability and initiatives that we are taking on as a school and as a community. I could give you many examples where, pun intended, the Seed Coalition planted a seed and made some connections. But tonight the highlight is really about the maple syrup, the production of maple syrup through an initial meeting that happened at through SEED, the Seed Coalition. So without further ado, I will turn it over to the people who did all the work.
Hi, I didn't really do most of the work. I'm gonna turn it over to Jamie, who did most of the work. The role that I played was mostly as a connection between the community and the club, and the seed of trying to see what we can do sustainably within the community. So we learned a lot about economical and environmental services that are provided by the environment for free, and we don't realize how instrumental these services are. So the idea is to give the students a product that they produce that kind of really doesn't cause any harm to the environment whatsoever, and that comes with nothing but sweet benefits. So here's how it works.
Yeah, so I made a little presentation, so if you could click right now.
Anywhere.
Yeah, anywhere. So basically what we did was last year my brother got
Can we
invited.
click on this?
No, don't click on that.
Okay.
Yeah, so basically last year my brother Andrew Choi communicated with Mr. McAdoo in a seed meeting, I believe, and that's how we got this whole thing rolling. And this year I was like, we should totally do the maple syrup thing again. So we went over to Mr. McAdoo, I think in February, and he showed us how everything's done. That's basically what's in the video. But basically, the whole maple syrup tapping started with going to Mr. McAdoo's house and seeing how it's done, and then you just click the slide.
Click here?
Oh, no, anyway, yeah.
Okay.
Right after that, for about 2 to 3 weeks, we went over to the trees that you'll see in the back of Shen over there, and we actually got drills and drilled trees, maple trees, to pull out maple tap. So about maple sap. So you need about 40 gallons of maple sap to make 1 gallon of maple syrup. So it's a really arduous process, but we still got a fair amount of maple sap, and we delivered them to Mr. McAdoo. Can you click again? And basically, in Mr. McAdoo's house, we used his osmosis machine and his burner, which is boiler. Basically, they're 2 machines that you would typically use to produce maple syrup. So the osmosis machine is basically used to extract all the water to make the boiling process go quicker. But essentially, Mr. McAdoo got all the maple maple sap, and he turned it into real maple syrup that you see over there. These are directly from, a part of it is from Shen. So next year, we're really thinking of expanding our operation to make it fully 100% Shen. So if you see that link over there, it's a little fun advertisement that we made. And just a disclaimer, it says that we're selling the product. We're not. I compulsively made this at 10 o'clock. So don't listen to whatever we're saying.
Okay, put the lid in. The lid.
So basically,
Nice job.
that's the advertisement we made for our maple product. And if you could click one more time,
Which one?
anywhere. We recently, in Science Discovery Night last Friday, we gave out about 4 bottles of these, the maple syrup we made, and we got like 200 pancakes, and we fed a lot of people. So that's one of the ways that we delivered our products, and we're also giving them to you, as you can see right now. They're really sweet. They're way different from the corn syrup maple you'll find.
Great job.
Well done.
Thank you. What is your name? The student.
My name is Jin Woo, and I'm a junior in Shenendehowa High School East.
Okay, fantastic, thank you.
Thank you.
I also wanted to mention that Mr. Tall is an earth science teacher here at High School East as well. And I'm curious, did the kids also make the pancakes on Friday?
Unfortunately, they didn't.
No. The pancakes were fantastic. So I followed my nose and I thought, is there a bakery in this building? And I came up on your classroom because I saw you earlier. I did not know that you were part of this effort. And so I had a pancake and it was delicious. It was really good. So this is like, I don't know how you grade
It was all the
maple
syrup.
syrup.
Yeah.
It's like, what is it, grade A or? I don't know.
Probably.
But
Great chance.
I was also thinking the bottle's gotta be more than 5 cents, but but no, it was just a very exciting program, and thanks to Petra, I got a peek, and I also got to meet Mr. McAdoo at one of the meetings that he was at talking about, so I did not realize that they were that close to doing something like this. I don't know if I can actually eat this, because it's so precious. It's like we'll have a special celebration where we lose a little bit, away, cast, and bring it out in 10 years.
And the thing about maple syrup is, what, it lasts
It
forever?
does not expire.
It doesn't
at all.
expire. So long
It
as you
doesn't
keep it in a
crystallize?
cool place.
It crystallizes.
Oh, it can crystallize,
Okay.
but it's still usable. Just have to heat it up a little bit.
Yeah.
So just really nice work, and thank you for coming and sharing this with us and this really wonderful gift. Very thoughtful.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thank you, appreciate it very much. And so, next presentation, we have Matt Davis here. And so, we've been working for a while on various college and career initiatives. Matt, do you want to click or you want me to click for you?
I'll click if you don't mind.
Sure, here. That should work.
Thanks, man. I'm gonna need the extras here, but I don't have absence. All right, well, good evening. So tonight, I want to provide an update on where things stand as it relates to college access and career pathways here at Shen. So since I came on board about a year and a half ago now, we've been working diligently to add college in the high school classes and also think a little bit about the pathways that we offer. So we're going to talk about both of those things here tonight. But first, I just wanted to start by talking a little bit about the benefits of college in the high school programming. So I had an article pop up on my phone in my Google News feed a couple weeks ago. I think I might have still been at the hospital when I read this, and I had to add it to the presentation. So the U.S. Department of Education did a longitudinal study starting in 2009, ending in 2021, where they looked at high school completion rates. And they compared high school completion rates across all the usual categories: race, socioeconomic status, geography, so on and so forth. But they also looked at high school completion and college attainment rates for students based on whether or not they were enrolled in college and the high school courses. And I thought this data was really interesting. So among the students who enrolled in higher education, those who had participated in a college and the high school class made up nearly a third of those who completed their degree. So you may know the degree completion rate for students who graduate from high school isn't as high as people think. So depending on where you look, anywhere from about 35 to 40% of American adults have a bachelor's degree. So college graduation rates are much lower than high school graduation rates. But students who earn at least one college credit while they're still in high school are significantly more likely to complete a college degree. And even more important, dual enrollment students made up only 17% of those who enrolled in a college but did not earn a degree. So very, very high likelihood of students completing a degree if they took at least one college credit while they were still in high school. And then from an equity lens, students who started taking college courses in high school accounted for more than twice the share of Black and Hispanic students who completed higher ed degrees as non-completers. So for our students of color, it's even more important for students to have earned at least one college credit while still in high school. It correlates to very high rates of college completion. So this is why we do the work that we do as it relates to adding college and the high school courses and making those options available to Shen students. So this slide is what I believe is a comprehensive picture of every single college credit bearing course that's currently available or will be available starting in September here at Shen. I'm not going to go through every single one of these. I'm just going to highlight the ones in bold, and these are new starting next year. So the board, I believe, has taken action on these IPAC recommendations. So most importantly, not most importantly, but the largest number of new courses being in our English department. So we're adding journalism, modernism, public speaking, and pre-college writing as college credit-bearing courses. So we've offered these courses at Shen for a number of years, and now students will be able to earn college credit through Hudson Valley for journalism, public speaking, and pre-college writing, 3 credits that can either count directly towards your major in a degree, typically as liberal arts or general education credit, or as free elective credit. And then modernism has been credentialed by UAlbany. So this course is probably the highest level, most rigorous English course that we offer in terms of how specific it is to the content area that it studies. And Hudson Valley did not offer a comparable course to this, so we looked to UAlbany, who had kind of a broad course that we could fit this into. And so we're excited to start offering those courses for college credit, optional college credit, in the fall. In the science department, we have 3 courses being credentialed starting in 24-25. Chemistry honors, Regents physics, and now AP chemistry students will have the option of signing up for Hudson Valley credit and or taking the AP exam. So students will be able to choose if they do one or both of those things. In the math department, we're bringing on a course called HBCC Real World Math. This course is for students who are in our Algebra 1A, 1B, Algebra with Lab pathway, and this course will allow every single Shen student, regardless of their math pathway, to earn at least one college credit-bearing course while they're still in high school, which is great. This course counts as a qualifying math course at Hudson Valley for several degrees that our students may seek to go into. So I just want to highlight at the bottom right all of our college partners. So Hudson Valley, UAlbany, Siena, RIT, Syracuse University, and SUNY Cobleskill are our current college partners, as well as the College Board for AP courses. You'll note, of course, St. Rose, no longer there. A couple of our St. Rose courses have transferred to Hudson Valley, and Rose Barra is currently working with another SUNY partner to transfer our remaining course. So overall, we have more than 50 college credit-bearing courses at Shen right now, including AP and college and the high school courses, which we're very excited about. So I wanted to provide a couple of case study examples. So these examples are really just that, right? So they do not represent real Shen students. However, a Shen student could do this in any number of different scenarios if they so chose. So for example A, we have an accelerated student with an interest in engineering. So this student would more than likely start taking college courses in 8th grade. So college DDE is a course that's offered to accelerated students in 8th grade, and then from there, there's college courses available in 9th grade and 10th grade, and so on and so forth. And a student could really earn 3 credits in 8th and 9th grade, up to 9 credits in grade 10, up to 12 in grade 11, and up to 15 in grade 12, for a total of 42 college credits. Now, we have students that earn far more than 42 college credits who are accelerated engineering students. We have students that earn fewer than 42 college credits who are accelerated engineering students. It really just depends on that student's individual needs. But this is just an example of what's possible. So this is up to 3 semesters worth of credits that can be transferred to any SUNY or CUNY school and many private schools as well.
So Matt, can I just stop you for a second?
Yeah.
And this is tremendous, you know, 100%. When you get the credit though, before you even, like the parents are, you know, you get the application, go through, you pay. Is there a way to know, and you're saying they go through CUNY and SUNY, but there's colleges that'll say, not taking them. Is there an easier way to acknowledge what colleges and, do you know what I mean? Because I've witnessed it, I've had a kid that
Sure.
went through that. So I'm just wondering, as we go through this and we progress, is there an avenue to more easily identify? Does that make sense?
It does make sense. So I have a personal example, and then I'll share what we typically advise students,
Gotcha.
right? So I experienced this myself. When I went to college, the college I attended said, you know what, we actually don't take courses taught by high school teachers that counted for college credit. That's rare. Typically, you know, it's Ivy League schools plus a couple of other, you know, schools around the country that say, no, we're just not going to. Some schools are even saying now we won't take AP credit. Again, exceptionally rare. What we always advise students is that you can have a school that you have your heart set on. Let's say you have your heart set on Harvard. Well, Harvard doesn't take AP credit, they don't take college and high school credit. But the acceptance rate at Harvard is 3%. While we would hope that every Shen student who applied to Harvard gets into Harvard, the reality is that many students who apply to these top tier elite schools that don't take the credit may end up going somewhere else. So it's a decision that families have to make to say, all right, am I gonna pay for this credit at $70 a credit hour, and my student has a very high likelihood of having this credit count if they go to the vast majority of schools, or am I gonna not pay for this credit and, you know, they may go to a school that doesn't take it or they may not. And what we always tell students in the counseling department is you have to keep your options open, right? So if it's a possibility for a family to pay for the credit and it makes sense for that family, we encourage them to do so. If a student qualifies for free and reduced lunch, we always encourage students to sign up for the credit as long as it's academically a good fit for them, because the credits are at no cost through Hudson Valley and at very low cost through many of our other college partners. Unfortunately, there's no easy answer to your question in terms of we don't have a book that says this college takes this credit all the time, right? What we can guarantee is that if a student takes a course through Hudson Valley and they do go to a SUNY school, the SUNY school will take that course and count it for something. It may count as a general elective, it may count as a gen ed, it may count as a liberal arts, or it may count directly towards a major or minor. It really just depends on what the course is. So at the end of the day, it's really an individual decision between a family and a student and a school counselor talking that through.
I got you. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, case study B is a Regents level student interested in business. And again, the caveat here is this student could earn far more than 18 credits, they could earn fewer than 18 credits, it really just depends on their individual circumstances. But here, I had the student earning credit for Spanish in 10th grade, which would completely eliminate the SUNY requirement to take a foreign language in college if that student wanted to. Earning credit for personal finance and investment in 11th grade, and then earning several college credits in 12th grade, one for math and another business, and then some of our new courses in college writing and college public speaking. So again, this student would really earn a semester or more worth of credits, which saves significant amounts of money and time in completion of the degree. And lastly, and again, just to show that really any student, no matter what they want to go into, has the opportunity to earn college credit at Shen. Let's say there's a student interested in going into the trades. I just saw a New York Times article that labeled the generation of students graduating from high school in the next 10 years as the tool belt generation, because so many of them are going into the trades and not going to college. Let's say this student completed our automotive or construction program. Those programs each include an internship as well as the possibility of earning college credit. And then this student could also eliminate a math requirement in college by taking that HBCC real world math class or a similar course based on their level of math attainment. So again, 6 credits for this student in this hypothetical example. So as we think about the college credits that are available to our students, our goal is for every student to at least have the opportunity to earn at least one class worth of college credits by the time they graduate from us. We know that that propels students to future success in college attainment, and we're excited for students to use these opportunities as we continue on. We're going to shift gears a little bit here and talk about our pathways. So we have 4 CTE approved pathways here at Shen. So these are New York State Education Department approved CTE programs that exist right here at our school. These are separate from programs at BOCES. So our 4 programs are transportation systems, we call it automotive internally, building sciences, we call it construction internally, child and family studies or early childhood education, and then entrepreneurship, which incorporates many of our business courses. So in order for students to complete one of these pathways, they have to earn 3.5 high school credits in a specific course sequence. So each of these pathways has its own course sequence specific to it. They also have to participate in at least one college level course, and each of these pathways has opportunities for at least one college level course. Many of these pathways offer multiple opportunities for college level courses. Students also have to complete a summative assessment and a portfolio. We have a new assessment program that we've just brought on board that students use to both prepare for and take the final assessment for these courses. And of course, these classes all have a career preparation focus. So our goal is to build in work-based learning hours into these programs up to and including a full internship. These programs are up for reapproval by NYSED this year. So every 4 years, the State Education Department reviews these programs. We have to submit data, and Rose Vera is working on doing that right now, and we're anticipating reapproval to be reviewed later this year. So as we think about our current pathways, now we're going to switch gears and think about additional pathways we're thinking about bringing on board. So this relates to the flyer that I passed out to you. So tonight I'm really excited to talk about the Shen Future Educator Pathway. So this was born out of a collaboration with Hudson Valley. We've been thinking a lot about how to improve the pipeline of high school students who are entering education preparation programs to become teachers. We've all heard a lot about the massive shortages nationwide and of course locally as well of folks who are completing education programs and folks who want to get into this profession. So as a district, we've thought about how can we get our own students excited about this work and wanting to be teachers and other sorts of educators, related service providers, and starting on this path while they're still in high school. So we offer several courses through that CTE pathway in Child and Family Studies that would earn students credit no matter what type of education they wanted to go into. And then depending on their area of interest, a student could take additional college and high school courses, and you'll see on the flyer that across a number of areas, we offer a significant number of college credits for students who want to be, let's say, a math teacher, a social studies teacher, any kind of science teacher, you name it, we have courses that align with it. And the exciting part about this is that students have so many different pathways they can take to get to their end goal. They can start taking college courses here at Shen, and they can transfer to Hudson Valley, earn a 2-year degree, transfer then to Albany, Siena, or Sage, or really any school of their choice, and complete a 4-year degree. Or they can start here at Shen, go directly to UAlbany, go directly to Siena, go directly to Sage, and complete that 4-year degree. Or they can start here at Shen and go to any school they want and earn a degree and become a teacher if they choose that program. So we're excited about this opportunity. We're starting to share this information with students and families. Counselors have access to this, and they've been talking to students who they know are interested in the field of education just about the opportunities that we offer here at Shen. And we know that if students start on their pathway to this career early on, they're more likely to go into college thinking about this, completing a degree, becoming an educator, and maybe one day coming to teach here at Shen or in one of our other local districts. So this kind of pairs up with our Careers in Education Fair, which is happening May 15th, where we're bringing in colleges from across the region and hosting breakout sessions and getting students and adults from all over the capital region excited about starting a career in education. So this is just one example of one of the new pathways that we're rolling out. One thing I would just say, we're not adding new courses just to create a pathway. We're taking courses we already offer, packaging them as a pathway, and it really helps students to make decisions based on what they already know and want to do. It just puts it in a prettier package and makes it something that's much easier to digest and helps them understand all the options that are available to them. So this is the Future Educator Pathway. So where are we going from here? We're working on a lot of initiatives related to this, but I want to highlight the new program of studies. So the program of studies right now, if you've seen it, is a book. It's about 100 pages long. We print it every year. We have recently stopped printing so many copies of it because most people just go on the website and click on the PDF. But right now the document is static, right? It can be changed in minor ways, but the book stays the same until it gets reprinted. So we're exploring and designing right now a dynamic website that includes videos and graphics and can be updated at any time to replace the current program of studies, and that's going to be rolling out in the fall of this year. So right now I'm collaborating with Kelly Barclay to create the website and collaborating with academic administrators and eventually teachers to get that the current program of studies moved over to this website and eventually to create videos that really highlight our programs and classes so that counselors aren't the only people telling students about the exciting opportunities we offer, and teachers and counselors can point students to an awesome 1 or 2 minute video that says, here's everything you need to know about this great elective that we offer. So we're excited to roll that out. So this program of studies site is also going to incorporate some of the new pathways. The Future Educator Pathway will be one of them. And these pathway documents are going to be more than just a list of courses. They're also going to highlight different opportunities for students wanting to go into a specific career pathway. Those opportunities include volunteer opportunities, clubs and extracurricular activities that students may want to participate in, college preparation activities, and career preparation activities like internships or a part-time job. So these pathway documents are going to be holistic and really get at all 3 legs of that stool to prepare students for life after high school. So hopefully I'll be back here in a few months to share that new program of studies site and show you some of the new pathways documents that we're going to be rolling out. We're really excited for the future of this work, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Good stuff there, Matt.
No, it's really important work. Hearing about this, it's similar to what Deanna was saying. I felt the same way. It was, you had to figure it out on your own. And this is the right direction so that our students, don't have to do that, can make informed decisions. We were down to your point about the classes, that college physics. Is it a school that takes it? Is it a school that doesn't? Oh, well, this school won't take it, so didn't do it. Changing to another school that would have taken it. And so then we're like, ooh, that hurts. But, it's just having the information there so that you feel better about your decision and you know that you've made the best decision possible. And also, making this available to all of our students. When you talk about equity and inclusivity, I think this is definitely in the right direction. Is this website that you're talking about, is it tied to the vendor that we approved a couple of meetings
No,
back?
this is on our current website.
It's going to be on our current website, okay.
Right. It'll be a Google site.
It'll be live in a couple of weeks or for
Couple months.
a couple
Couple
of
months.
months? Okay,
So it's a big undertaking. Yeah, it's a big undertaking,
Okay.
but the framework of the website's done. Right now we're in the information entry stage. The video creation process is going to be the most amount of work, but we're excited to do it. So.
We have students doing some of the videos too. It's like recommending courses. I remember that came up in an IPAC once. It was really interesting.
So I think it's going to depend on each department.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have a definitive answer right now, but more to come.
Yeah, it's a really that's a good move because I know that's come up over the years in IPAC, just describing courses, just what they're called, and then how we talk about them. People don't understand, and then. I also just want to say the point you were making about existing classes and just how we're packaging it can't overstate how important that is and what a great idea that is to just get our students thinking strategically about what and why they pick courses, which they're going to have to do in college, which they're going to have to do in their careers, right? So even that in and of itself is getting their minds thinking about what they need to do. So really cool stuff.
Thank you.
And Matt, not to prolong it, but June for for middle school, we know that engineering really just kicks off there for the college piece, right? So for the DDE. And I don't wanna push the kids and I don't want more stress, but would we think about other courses in an 8th grade atmosphere that they could take that would be in college? That's hard, right?
Yeah,
Is that-
it
Okay,
is, it is, because there's certain, yeah, that's hard.
okay.
And
just
that
wondering.
was unique with how Project Leadway is set up, to that structure, so yeah.
Just wondering.
But again, if opportunity presents itself, clearly, because we have kids who are accelerating in many instances, and if the accelerated course that they're taking, even though they might be an 8th grader, we'll certainly work towards that. And we have stipulations in the board policy that allows for that.
Gotcha.
Pedagogically, most college and high school programs don't recommend students younger than 9th grade taking college level courses, just from a rigor perspective.
Yeah.
It's not unheard of.
Right.
But
That's what I mean, I didn't wanna push on, I'm just wondering.
totally understand.
So right now, DDE is the only
Yeah.
college level course.
Legit, yeah. Good, appreciate it, Matt, thank you very much for coming in.
Thank
you. Of
And
course.
congratulations again on your newborn.
Good job,
Alright,
Matt.
thanks.
Great job.
All the best with that, thank you. So it's great, we start off with Sweet Honey, and we continue with college credits, and now we, each year, as the board knows, we bring a wide variety of students to the board meeting to recognize different things. And several years back, we started highlighting the arts, and so Mr. Roselle is here to do just that. Frank, do you want to click? Please, I probably should have just kept it up there. To do just that, so I have you intro the presentation.
Thank you, I didn't know where you were going with that sweet honey analogy. I thought that was gonna be described as sweet, I didn't know what to do with myself after that.
I can't lie in public, Frank.
So thank you for the opportunity to share the ongoings of the art and music program here at Shenendehowa. It is a pleasure to be here. Tonight, I hope briefly, we do have 44 slides, but I promise we're gonna move quickly through them, and the last 30 or so are gonna be on auto loop, just to showcase some of our student success. So I thought we'd walk through what we've done as a district to invest in facilities, then to invest in our programs, and then anytime we make an investment, we talk about the return on investment. So subsequently, we'll segue into the student spotlight portion of the presentation, which I hope highlights some of the great work kids are doing. But before we do that, we will start with a little video. I don't know if I know how to get this to play.
Is it on here?
Yep. There we are.
So before Frank goes, I just want to point out, see this little music teacher right here?
Yes.
He's keeping a beat already, so I just want to point it out. So Frank, sign that kid up right now.
Absolutely. So if you were in a bad mood before you started this, and then you heard that, there is no possible way you could be in a bad mood. This is the Caragon first graders, led by Miss Kate Hill, who is our newest staff member. At Caragon, beyond performing groups, they have the younger kids do an evening where they showcase their musical talents. And I thought that was a great way to start. Rather than do a formal welcome, these kids obviously do it better than I do. So when we talk about investment, I realize that the board already knows much of this, but I think it's worth taking a moment to highlight it, because when you see it all in one place, the magnitude is pretty spectacular and phenomenal. And the work we've done this year with various grant funding has solved problems we've had for 20 or more years. And we made such tremendous progress. I couldn't be happier with the growth and what we've secured for kids for the long term. So as you are probably familiar with, we had some construction going on at High School East this year. We gave the music rooms a facelift. The band room 165 was expanded. We upgraded the choral room. We replaced the aging instrument storage cabinets. We created an acoustical mosaic on the walls, if you will. You can see some missing ceiling tiles. Trust me, the work is not done yet, but as the parts come in, we are cleaning it up. And by the time it's done, it's gonna look like a magnificent space that's worthy of the kids who we serve. So we're super excited about that. We did a ton of work in the auditorium, upgrading the lighting systems. Feels like, if you've been around a while, it feels like that auditorium is still new. But in technology terms, the lighting was old and ready to fall apart. So we made the upgrades there for long-term sustainability. So we're super excited about that. At the middle school, as you know, the main office was relocated from the center of the building to the front of the building and subsequently displacing 2 art rooms. So the old main office became 2 art rooms. This is one of them in the top picture is one of them. Those are pretty close to being done, a few more things just to make them really perfect. They look spectacular, the storage is tremendous. It's amazing how great you can make a space when you have the opportunity to design it with the people who are going to be in it in mind and not in the retrofitting model, which sometimes we do. And then right across from that, we have a new gallery space that looks similar to the work we've done at the high school. That is hot off the presses, that was just done last week, so we're super excited about that. It's going to be a great space to showcase the middle school talent rather than hanging on a bulletin board and living in the hallway. It's going to look professional. Again, to meet the needs of the students. They're producing such great work, and now we have great space to highlight it. And also, we purchased 2 new kilns for the new spaces. The ones we replaced were purchased in 1995 and 2000. So those were the 2 oldest in the district. They were hanging on by a thread. It was time to replace them. 1995 is a long time ago. It doesn't feel like it, does it? But it was. And then when we talk about investment in program, we did tremendous work replacing an inventory that was so old it was sad. We probably had 80 to 100 instruments still in rotation that were purchased in the 60s. Some of them really needed to be out of the rotation, but rest assured I still have 30 or 35 gems that we're still using and we make it work. Because as they say, if it ain't broke, we don't fix it, right? We keep it moving. So 180 band instruments, 143 string instruments. Again, we've replaced almost everything purchased before 1980, and we're pretty close to 1990. Of course, if it's still in good working order, we're using it. So this was important not only because what we had was old, but we also now have the capacity to reach kids we wouldn't be able to reach. So as the socioeconomic status of our community changes, we can guarantee that kids will be part of the program despite their home circumstances. Which is a goal of mine and something that's pretty important to me. My whole music career would not have been what it is if a teacher didn't hand me an instrument many, many years ago. So I think we've done tremendous work there. We've got a little more to do, but we are making strides, so I'm super pleased about that. And then our classroom instruments, there's some pictures below. Sometimes we call these ORF instruments, it's kind of an interchangeable name, but they're the mallet instruments that you see in general music classrooms. Depending on what building you're in, you have a very different experience as an elementary music student because your access to equipment was vastly different. Some of that is a result of we inherit what we had, some of it's a result of what teachers feel comfortable teaching, and some of it is just a budget mechanism. These things cost money, the budget doesn't always lend itself to buy multiple, so we piecemeal, we buy one here, we buy one there. So we purchased 154 mallet instruments. So now every elementary school and every ancillary music teaching space has access to the same equipment. And there's a little video, Dr. Robinson, if you could just play that, it's about 40 seconds. This is what ORF instruction looks like.
1, 2, ready, go. You have to play 1. You have to play 2. You have to play the instrument with me and you. You play the bass. You have to play 3. You have to play 4. You have to play the instruments with place. You have to stop the instruments to sing the end.
So like any good music teacher, you hear Miss Sprague in the background, getting kids back on track. But what I hope you notice about the video is that there is no child off task in the classroom. Everyone is engaged, and they are creating music. So when we think about the elementary music program here at Shen, it has to be about making music, right? Kids don't frequently have the opportunity to make music outside of the time we have with them, so the more we do that, the better we feel we're doing in fostering their musical abilities and talents. So we're super excited about that as well. When we think about where we're going, we have animation as an offering coming on board next year. Last check, I think there were 37 kids who requested the course. It's probably a little higher now that the numbers have calmed down. We, last year, put our computer lab online, so we have a place to teach animation, and we have the capacity to offer e-media at High School East. That was previously offered at West. So that's great, and then hopefully in 25-26 we'll be bringing on a music elective with the goal of bringing it to IPAC in the fall. As we think about forward planning, we still have some things to do. We'll have to consider where our enrollment goes over time to make sure we have the instruments to match the need. Because we have a new and healthy inventory over time, we'll have to look at our repair budgets to make sure we can keep up with them and keep them in good working order. Because I anticipate, I can't do the math that fast, I got the 60s instruments lasting 60 years, so in 2070 or something, right? These instruments still need to be functioning. I'll still be here in case anyone's wondering, in this job. That was a joke, everybody. So yeah, we're super excited about all of it. Here's just a brief overview of some of what our kids are accomplishing. You can see the numbers are solid. On the left, we have all the music festivals kids are involved in, and on the right, all the art shows. We had 248 kids in the Empire State Plaza show. That was pretty incredible. And then we'll get to some actual details of what that looks like. Here are 4 students, Joe Lau, Thomas All, Abigail Lee, and Alicia Chi. The 3 on the left were selected for the All-State Festival in Rochester. That is probably the top accomplishment you can achieve as a music student. So we're super proud of their accomplishment and their participation. And then similarly notable is the NISPA Band Directors Festival. So this takes tremendous dedication, work. There's an application process. You have to score almost perfect on your NISMA solo for sometimes consecutive years. These kids are outstanding. Something unique this year, our middle school treble choir was invited to sing at Radio City Music Hall opening for the Rockettes. It was pretty spectacular. It's the same picture twice, but I wanted you to see Radio City. That was pretty cool. I wanted you to see the kids and the teacher. Sorry. So again, competitive process. Rob and Ellen submitted audition tapes and they were selected, and so we sent them down in December to perform. Spectacular.
But these same kids are sang at Superintendent's Conference Day.
Correct, correct. They sang at Superintendent's Conference Day. We have a bunch of musicals going on this year, or we had a bunch of musicals going on this year. Anything Goes, I'm sure you saw it. I hope you saw it at the high school. It was pretty spectacular. That number right before intermission was pretty incredible, right? Yeah. And our elementary schools are doing some great things. We did Frozen a couple of times, Moana Jr., How I Became a Pirate. That one was pretty cool too. So music is alive and well at Shenendehowa. And then this slide features a project, I thought this was pretty sensational. The National Art Honor Society worked with the Mr. Mo project, and they did portraits of animals that are senior dogs and then they auction them off and raise money for the organization. So between last year and this year, $7,000, over $7,000 raised for that. So this is, on the right, is one of the images, and this slide has a few more images. Look at the talent,
That's incredible.
right?
I vote. I love it.
And then, as you know, our billboard project, this is last year's winner. The 2024 reveal will be on May 17th.
What time is it? 9:30?
I have 8 to 10 marked on my calendar. I will let you know the exact time when we know. It's still waiting on
We'll get there.
Lawrence and details. So that will be exciting. If you've been there before, you know. The kids in John and Butterfield's graphic design class all make designs that could potentially win, and then the winner is unveiled at the ceremony. So we're excited and looking forward to that. We just came off of our 20th annual Shenendehowa Jazz Festival. If you were there, I'm sure you were amazed because it was spectacular and probably the best one thus far. Our guest artist this year was Jimmy Green, Grammy-winning saxophonist. He was phenomenal with kids. He visited every jazz band. Every jazz band played the concert, and then we ended with about 200 kids on stage playing one tune from 6th grade to our top seniors. So that was also pretty exciting. That is one of my favorite events of the year. That last number, you're always amazed at the sound that comes out. So kudos to all those involved in that endeavor. And last but certainly not least, we have our upcoming annual district-wide art show. That'll be the 23rd to the 29th at the Clifton Park Half Moon Library. It'll be open during regular library hours. It will be in the, I'm gonna say conference rooms, but that's the right word, the community rooms. They are loaning all 4 of them to us, and I already have permission to expand beyond that. If you haven't seen an art show set up, our teachers bring all their work. They start by behaving and putting work on panels, and then you find work on walls and in corners. They showcase it tremendously. And if we can put this on auto loop, did I do that, Dr. Robinson?
No, I have no idea.
Okay, so my assistant, Ms. Vicki Wild, was on deck just in case that was gonna be a concern.
Sure.
And so we'll do a 5-second loop on this, and I'll just make a few comments as it goes through.
Okay.
The point here being really, I just wanna showcase some of the work.
I've learned something new today. I go home now.
That's
As
it.
long as it works.
That's it. So the next few slides feature work from the Senior Citizen Center show. I think we had 50 or so students volunteer work at the Senior Center right here in Clifton Park. And then a few slides with guest artists. This is the one who designed the owl at Octay, working with kids. Wow, 5 seconds is going a little fast, huh? Here's another community endeavor. Is this going too fast, Dr. Robinson? or
No,
we
it's
good?
fine.
Okay.
Perfect. I go 2 seconds if you want me to.
We'll list some of the kids involved just so you can see them for posterity's sake. These are all the all-county, so the collective of the county. And then this is the Saratoga All-Stars Show, the work that was submitted for that and displayed in Saratoga. A specialized show for art in 3 dimensions, 4 works selected from Shenendehowa. The high school regional is probably the most prestigious show we participate in. That is jury from all over the capital region. You have access to this, so you can take your time and look through it at a different time, but you'll see that the work is tremendous.
These are very cool, the videos. I love that one walked off the screen. So, very clever.
And then the High School Media Fest, this is digital imagery, so could be photography, could be graphic design. I think we had a record year with this show, I think 12 kids. And as you can see, the work is just tremendous quality. Here's a slide with Ms. Suen working with her FSD class. We guest conductors at High School East. Oranjan murals. These are spectacular. If you haven't seen them, you owe yourself a trip to Oranjan. And last but not least, the Caravan course performing at Colbert Village. That's Miss Barkley leading them. So, in conclusion, we make tremendous effort not only to foster what kids are doing, but then to showcase it. We try to be out in the community, maintain a presence, invite people in to hear the great things our kids are doing. None of that happens without the Board of Education support, so a sincere thanks. None of it happens without district leadership supporting the programs and advocating on our behalf, so we appreciate that. I have tremendous colleagues who are partners in the work. The community is tremendous, and last but certainly not least, the teachers make it happen. We are 55 or so strong in the art and music program. They are leaders not only at Shenendehowa, but well beyond. They lead organizations around the community in both music and art. And they are dedicated professionals who don't stop until kids find success. So thank you for the time. I hope you enjoyed, and I appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Frank.
That was wonderful.
Again, thank you very much, Frank. Actually,
Leave it up here.
Well, I'm not sure if Mrs. Carmen want to click out. Let me click. So I appreciate it, Frank. Just before we go to the next one, just wanted to, the board, a couple of things merged with that. Frank was highlighting some of the things. If you recall, we were talking about federal funds and how do we try to strategically use funds. And so instruments that we won't buy till 2070, again.
Maybe 2050.
2050. So I just kind of point out that we legitimately looked at say, how do we use some of these funds in ways that make a huge impact, but that avoid the recurring costs, at least for a period of time for us to plan and sequence. This is a perfect example of that. How two different things merge, opportunity merge, and so appreciate it, Frank did a lot of work to make sure we maximize those resources and will be available for years to come for students. So thank you, Frank, for your effort as well. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
To the transition, again, all these things speaking to our efforts here at Shen to do many things. And safety has been a conversation we've had many times over with the board. And Mrs. Carmen, along with Chris Cohen, who's our athletic director and Ron Augustona High School principal. To me, this is something that we've been talking about for a while. And there's a lot of moving parts, and trying to get to this place and this point is a great accomplishment, and certainly I think it's start of a process that we clearly refined over the years. So Mrs. Carmen or Chris or Ron, I'm not sure who's up first.
I'm up first, thank you. Great introduction for that first slide.
Thank you. I was trying to straw circle the whole.
This will be fun, but no, it'll be good. And I wasn't sure if we're the salty part of the meeting. You've already had the sweet part, so we're the salty. So, as Dr. Robinson said, safety is a priority here at Shen. And after completing a thorough audit this last spring, we are continuing to take the necessary steps that we need to take to continue to enhance the safety protocols here at Shen and our practices. And as a result, we have broadened our safety plans to encompass extracurricular activities as well as athletics. You'll see from here on this particular slide just to, where we have been and, where we are going. And since the comprehensive external audit, we have really analyzed a lot of the results that and recommendations that we were actually given. We've reviewed them with facility and ops, working very closely with Barb and Ned, principals, and really identifying what are those quick wins that we can get, and then also what are some of those longer term projects that we're working on. We've also completed our annual safety walkthroughs, because even though we've had the safety audit, we continue to do 2 safety audits a year, so we did those. And through those recommendations, obviously some of that was also similar recommendations and things that were in progress, but also really looking at cameras, looking at lighting across the district, outside of our buildings as well as inside of our buildings. We've really looked at increasing training across the district, really looking to work with facilities and ops, operations, that's Ned and Barb's staff, and really looking at how do we continue to expand that training for those individuals that are working in many different capacities across the district, as well as transportation and expanding that piece. In addition, we have a new safety website that we are housing information, increased communication to parents, and our clings that we have on all the doors around the district on every building. Another measured approach that I really want to highlight also is really taking the steps to incorporate athletics and extracurricular activities into our safety plans. These are things that we've already been doing. It's just we're really trying to systematize the work and really continue to ensure that we are providing a safe environment for our students beyond the traditional classroom setting, and also by extending these safety measures to cover these areas, we're continuing to take that proactive approach to helping address potential risk, how do we mitigate that risk, and to continue to promote that secure and safe environment. The athletics, so when we talk about the what, we talk about, the athletics and extracurricular safety plans really encompass a multifaceted, multi-pronged approach, just like our regular emergency response plans. They're looking at emergency procedures, they're looking at staff training, facility safety, communication protocols, risk assessment and mitigation, and collaboration with external agencies, because athletics external agencies are different than maybe what we're dealing with on a day-to-day basis, as well as extracurricular, when you're talking about school dance, Ron is dealing with other community external agencies. And by developing and implementing these comprehensive safety plans that we have continued to enhance, again, we're continuing to promote and foster that positive learning environment, a supportive environment that really continues to enable students to pursue their passions in regards to extracurricular as well as athletics. And I'm going to turn it over to Chris so he can talk a little bit more about the athletic safety plan.
Thanks, Becky, appreciate it. Just talking a little bit about the athletic safety plan. One of the first things that I kind of want to make sure the board is aware of is that there's really two components to an athletic contest. There's game management and then there's event management. Game management is once the game starts, the officials take over, they run the contest. Event management is everything that sort of happens outside of the arena of play, and that becomes the administrative responsibility. And I think we focus so much on, we do a really good job here at Shen. I'm going to walk you through some things where we really do a good job of focusing not only on the game management, but also the event management. Whoa. Okay. And I think one of the things that we learned through this process is, safety for all athletes, coaches, officials, and spectators. And if you look at that group, really try to make sure that everybody comes to an event here at Shenendehowa and walks away with a positive experience. Ensure that plans are current and being reviewed consistently by all stakeholders, and that plans can be adapted for the size and scope of the event, which is what I'm going to talk to next. So the athletic safety plan overview, if you look at it, it's really a tiered approach to make sure that the safety demands the safety meets the demands of the event. So if you think about it this way, a modified field hockey game over on field 8, which is our grass soccer field, might have 50 spectators at it. On Friday nights in the fall at the football games, you might have 4,500 people all included at the event. So you have to now juggle from here to here in terms of the size and scope of events in which we have to come up with a plan for. And I think one of the things that was good about this was, as we kind of did the audit and we went through this, it forced us to really look at very critically how we structure, how we tier events, how we make sure that our events are safe for everybody who's involved. So one of the things that we put together is the second bullet up there. Each event will have a specific tier, which allows us to appropriately staff the event. So again, we know what we want to staff the event, from the small 50-person games, 50 spectators, all the way up to 5,000 people that we can have at a game. And I think we've done a good job. We got together, we pulled in some stakeholders from the athletic department, we met in the library in the other room down the road, down the way down there, and we sat and we really looked at a critical way in which we look at how we not only do our events, but if the event becomes smaller, how do the roles and responsibilities become combined for chaperones? So a chaperone at a football game might only be responsible for greeting people as they come into the facility. But at a smaller event, they might have the responsibility of greeting people and then, doing some perimeter walks as well. So there's a lot of different ways in which we approached it. The plans can be adjusted to meet the needs of the event. Is the contest home, away, at a neutral site? We compete in over 1,500 contests a year. Our athletic teams do. That's a lot of buses. That's a lot of organization. That's a lot of structure. And again, the events can be from small modified events all the way up to very large home events, sectional games, whatever, in the gyms, on the fields. We're going to implement some safety announcements in the fall at a lot of our larger contests. We're going to try to get our staff designated by vests, badges, etc. One of the things I really do want to highlight, and I really appreciate the support of Dr. Robinson and Barb on this, we used to have a system where AEDs were located in buildings. One of the things when we talked about this safety plan, which we felt was critical, was if we take a new coach and we orientate them to what it takes to become a Shen coach, and we say, okay, you're out on this field on this day, you're on this field on this day, you're on this field on this day. Okay, if you have a catastrophic injury where you need an AED, do you really know where you're going? So we presented a plan to Dr. Robinson where our largest season is the fall. Every team in the fall now is outfitted with an AED. And we appreciate your support on that, and we appreciate, Barb, your support, and Kathy as well too. So every team has an AED. So what happens is the modified soccer AED gets signed out through Rick Nizick and Shannon Kane, then comes back in and becomes the modified basketball AED, and then goes back out in the spring and becomes the modified lacrosse AED. We're also implementing a system where the coach would also have 2 badges for students in case of an emergency that they would be able to get into. They would be able to get in a building which will be housed right in those AED badges, or right in those AED, so we're really, really pleased about that. Anyone Can Save a Life is a NISFA program, which we have to begin next fall. Anyone Can Save a Life is that all teams run through what would happen in the event of emergency. There is a lot of questions about it. We do have some questions about it that we have posed to the state. What are the roles and responsibilities on a modified team of what a modified athlete is responsible for in an emergency situation. It is part of mandatory trainings at Shen, such as first aid, CPR, and AED. And one of the things that I'm really happy about is what we've done with Rick, and now having Shannon come on board. And I can't thank the board and Dr. Robinson enough for their support for bringing the assistant trainer on board. We now are incorporating safety as part of our first aid, CPR, and AED trainings. Okay, and then just quickly, my last part on this is trainings with coaches as part of our seasonal coaches meetings, trainings with coaches as part of mandatory trainings, our new coaches orientation. These are opportunities where we get together with the coaches and make sure that they have all the information. The new coaches orientation, every coach who's hired at Shenendehowa, Rob Weeks and Ryan Fenton, who are faculty managers, they run a new coaches orientation that take the coaches through the expectations of what it means to coach here at Shenendehowa, from transformative leadership all the way through how you put your buses in, how you deal with officials, and as part of that, they've integrated the emergency management plans as part of that as well too. What is next for us? Staff training for all those work in Shen events. I think Becky had a great suggestion of working with the SROs and make sure that when we put staff out into our events, they are trained or have been trained. So it's something we are building in, that all our chaperones next year will go through some form of training of how to deal with emergency situations. The one thing I would leave you with this is making sure staff is ready to respond to any situation. I know Dr. Robinson was there, and I think Deanna was there. We evacuated the football stadium 2 minutes before kickoff against Niskayuna. I think Ron would agree, and Ron was such a huge help in this. We evacuated the football stadium with about 3,000 people there in about 5 minutes in a very orderly fashion. And we sat back and we looked at it and said, okay, where do we have to improve if we have to do this? We were able to do it, but it was a great opportunity for us to experience it kind of firsthand. What if you have an emergency situation? So that's what I have on athletics, and my partner in crime here, Ron, will continue on with the extracurricular stuff.
You know what, I'm gonna comment really quick on that, because I remember going inside, you were going in another direction, I went in with Elizabeth, and kids were all in the school, right? And I went right to Ron, so I kind of felt overwhelmed. And I said, Ron, is this the way it goes? He goes, Deanna, it's going like, it's well-oiled machine, we got it. So, yeah, kudos.
Mr. Cullen, can I ask you, as far as other sports, does it include things like the crew, rowing, the Nordic sports, color guard? Does it include things like that?
They fall under extracurricular.
All of them?
Okay, yeah, those would, not the Nordic sports. Nordic is
Okay.
part of interscholastics. Crew is a club sport, and
Okay.
color guard is a club activity. And dance sort of falls into kind of with athletics because of the way where they practice and stuff, but.
Okay, all right, thank you.
And I will tell you, there is a huge overlap with extracurricular and athletics. So all this stuff Chris just said, I can say for extracurricular. I'm gonna say a couple different things, we don't have to do the same thing, but same idea. There are different size events. You've been to an honor society induction, a small honor society, and there might be 100 folks there. Parents are there, students, that's it, all the way up to graduation where we have thousands, prom where we have 1,000 students, the musical where we bring in 4,000 spectators over 4 days or 3.5 days or whatever it is. So same idea, we have some events that are very small, you have a club meeting after school, all the way up to thousands of people at SPAC for graduation. So one thing I'll tell you is we were really interested in not reinventing stuff. We have policies and procedures in place that we're always improving, but they work. They work during the school day. We have roles and responsibilities that work during the school day. We want to transfer as much as we can, which we do already, to after school. We're not looking to reinvent. We have stuff that works. We want to have that in place for after school. Obviously, there's some differences, different venues, different folks that are here, different people in different roles, but we know they work. So we really want to transfer as much as we can over to extracurricular and athletics. That's the conversation we had. So we say it all the time around here, if it's not documented, it doesn't happen, right? If it's not written down, it doesn't happen. So we really wanted to start documenting things we do. And I'll give you an example. The prom is coming up, right? We're all excited for the junior prom and senior prom. I know what we do at prom. We go up there, we notify the city PD of Saratoga, we work with the city center security, we go up there early, we check the doors, we station people around, we know when kids leave, we have people in the parking garage. I only know that because I was told that, and now I tell people. It's not written anywhere. That's a problem for us. I know when we have certain events, I know at the musical we do certain things, but we did not have that documented. It lived here. So the real goal is now to let it stay here, but also get it on paper so it can be transferable to anyone. That is the process. And plus, when it's written down, you can really work to improve it. Now you start looking at your process and your systems, and now you can work to improve and not just go through the motion. So I think everything we are doing, we have done, but I think now we have the opportunity to improve on it because we're writing it down and examining it. What's the next steps with this? What we did do, we reviewed the safety audit. We spent a lot of time on that safety audit. If you've seen it, there are pages and pages and pages, and we're checking stuff off. And what is next is to really, I think the most important thing there, the two most important things are like empowering our folks and training them, because we have to let our advisors, our club advisors, the folks that are working after school, know that they are empowered to take steps that they take during the school day. So that's the next step. We'll be working with our club advisors, all of our advisors, all of our coaches, the crew, all the extracurriculars, to make sure that they are well-versed on what we want to do after school and carry as much over as we can. And then we want to test it. Like we had a drill today, we have a drill tomorrow. We test the system all the time. We want to test it for extracurricular too, just like we do during the school day.
And just to actually continue a little bit of what Ron was saying in regards to extracurricular, that's okay, is we've, with all of what we've done so far in regard to incorporation of athletics and extracurricular activities, we've also expanded the summer program and also training in regards to ensuring that all the directors are trained appropriately on the safety protocols and practicing those drills for the summer. But in regards to your question specifically, we also host a facility users meeting in the beginning of the year where we talk about safety, and that's where you'll see some of individuals that are heading up those extracurricular activities. You will see Scott Schnell at that particular meeting and getting some of that additional training in regards to safety and what are some of the expectations regarding that. And also in regards just to summer safety, everyone, we're looking at, certain staff that's there, and also, looking at what nurses, do nurses need additional training to be able to assist, because summer is a little bit different. We don't have all the administrative staff on hand, so we have that annual meeting coming up with all those directors of all the summer programs. Summer literacy, special education, it's all summer programs. In addition, one of the things that obviously, we continue to foster that environment of see something, say something. We are, it's become the logo, it's at the bottom of documents that we're sending out from our office in regards to safety. It's on the website. And here on this slide, I'm not going to go through this, but just really outlining some of those strategies of things that we have done and that we continue to do, because again, we can always do better and things are always changing. And that's one of the biggest things that I really want to point out there is that, we constantly have to adapt and evolve, because there are things that are happening all the time, and something could happen tomorrow that's going to change, and we're not going to have a see something, say something, because it's something else now, whatever that might be. So I think one of the biggest things that where the collaboration, when you talk about the work of this particular team, but you talk about the collaboration of the administrators and our DLST team in this work is imperative, because it takes us all to be involved in this process, to update what we need to update to stay ahead of what's happening out there. And then lastly, really just to bring this home and really talk about next steps. We've talked about where we've been, we talked about what's new, what have we been working on, and then where we're going. And as I said, it's perpetual, and we constantly have to remain vigilant and adapt to the evolving recommendations and mandates that are coming out, whether it's state education department or wherever they might be coming from. So we're constantly yearly reviewing key documents like our district emergency response plan, doing some key updates to policy as needed, and just really continuing to foster that environment of see something, say something.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's really important work.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
So again, thank you very much, Ron, Becky, and Chris. A lot of great presentations tonight, and I thought for the purpose of the board, especially as we approach the end of the year, right? Oftentimes people are excited about the end of the year, but all these things remind you that we have done, continue to do a lot of great things for kids, and a lot of these things are going to be triggering things that we're going to be focused on and continue to the coming year as well. So appreciate those presentations. The last piece that's on this agenda on the information item is not necessarily a presentation, just the audit committee minutes that later on the board is asked to adopt. This committee, Mrs. Chase is here in case there's a specific question. This committee was convened primarily to have the audit committee review the comptroller's recommendation, which the board has to adopt tonight in order for us to submit them to State Education Department. They've already been submitted to the State Comptroller's Office, but there's a different requirements to submit them to the State Education Department, so the board is asked to help fulfill that requirement tonight. So again, Mrs. Chase is here, but I know Mr. DeGianni is on the committee. I don't know, Jason, if you want to make any comments specific to the audit committee piece as well?
Yeah, I guess it's all together, I could do it now. So the audit committee met and primarily to discuss the audit. Everyone knows audits aren't fun. Nobody wants to go through an audit, and sometimes you get a finding. Those aren't fun either. But we discussed the finding of this audit. What I'll say there, the good thing, if you're gonna have a finding, what I could say and point to the team here is you can localize exactly what happened and caused the finding and identify that and isolate it. You can move on from that and put things in place. So we had a good amount of discussion. I want to thank Kathy and the team for being there to answer all the questions. But essentially, what we came down to, and I think it's just important for everyone to hear this, is from a results standpoint, and this is also in the corrective action plan, but essentially, somebody, we've had some staff changes, and an individual was doing things, calculating things maybe not the most correct way that they could, in a different way than we usually would do that. But what's important, a couple of key points I think to make is one, that in reviewing the transactions and reviewing all the activity, one, OSC didn't find anything else, everything else looks great. The team was able to isolate that really this type of error could not and did not happen in other places where transactions were going on, and they're able to isolate exactly which transactions were affected. So the most important thing is, looking at what was found in the sample, but then going back and doing the review. So the good news is the team is going back to do the review, look at everything that could have gone wrong just to make sure, and then correct those, so process any changes and payments that need to be made. All of that will be done very quickly by the end of the fiscal year, which is the end of June when the school year officially ends, probably actually much sooner than that, but that's really great news. All trainings and parts of the process that would catch this or oversee this have been updated and put into place so that, again, a lot of those proactive steps you can take to make sure we don't find ourselves in this position again. So again, you never want to go through these things, not ideal, but the important thing is I think how the team picks it up and reacts to it and things you put in place to take care of it. So the good news is we can say here is we've done that and we'll make corrections quickly. So that's good. So that's the report of the conversation. So I can say we feel good about moving on and approving.
I appreciate Jason. Just want to go back to the beginning for some superintendent's comments. And just want to highlight a couple of things. As the board knows, the state of New York approved their budget on Saturday, technically. This way everything was finalized. Saturday, April 20th. So technically 20 days late in the sequence. A lot of things in the state budget, and often they say the devil's in the detail. And now this week, a lot of those details are starting to unpack when people are looking at the actual bills themselves and saying, okay, what does that mean? How do we actually do that? And those kind of things. So there's a lot of that's going to happen over the course of the next several weeks and months here. Just a couple things I want to highlight that has a potential impact more specific to Shen. As you know, we were saying that when the board approved the budget that's going out to the public back on April 9th, we were saying if something significant happens from the state budget, it's going to impact us, we'll come back to this table with a proposed recommended amendment. We're not, because at that point, the state governor's proposal was based upon a 2.4% inflationary factor adjustment, and it went up slightly to 2.8. That differential wasn't significant for us, for Shen specifically. What we were hoping for, if the laws were to, the current laws were allowed to run, that inflationary factor would have been 4.1%. So that would have been a pretty significant. And just to give you some context, if the laws were to run, that would have been an additional $236 million in state aid across the system. So obviously you can tell, obviously that was a big decision to compromise on that piece of it. So again, we weren't necessarily banking on it because we have a solid budget proposal and we're pleased with where we are and where we're going to the public. Just some things that again, we didn't expect that it was going to change, but we're certainly pleased that expense-based aids will continue to run. In other words, things that we pay for, transportation, certain things, those things will continue. Because every year there's always some conversation about should we consolidate and should we do those kind of things. So none of that occurred. So we're pleased with that. The piece that and I think everyone's going to be watching closely, everyone meaning in particular all the education-related associations, is this proposed study of the foundation aid by the Nelson Rockefeller Institute for Government. And it's interesting. I actually, myself personally, when I was in grad school back in the early 90s, actually worked on a particular similar study that developed the formula they have now. So I was thinking, oh, I should kind of dust off all those documents and send it to them and save them a lot of time. So it's going to be interesting to see what they come out. Literally, I just read some details. Literally, it's the same kind of premise behind the study to come up with best ways to fund schools. And then the study's done. The report is not binding. It's a recommendation. And then the politics of it happens. And so we anticipate that's probably, even though they're saying, I think the deadline for that is January 2025, which again goes into another potential fiscal cycle and another potential political cycle as well. So we have to watch that and ensure there'll be a lot of state agencies will be, December 1st, 2024 is when the study's supposed to come out for this particular one. So we'll see. We'll see how that pans out. It's one of those things. I think there's some need to update certain aspects of the formula, but the question is not the what, but the how, and what's the potential impact of making large-scale changes on school districts across the state. Just another one that I think we're all watching and we continue to watch is some conversation around the zero-emission bus transition. The piece that, again, we're going to watch very closely. The budget established what they call the New York State Zero Emission School Bus Resource Center, which is going to be through NYSERDA. And part of that charge is to collect a lot of information from a lot of different school districts, different constituencies. So we're going to see what's going to come out of that. Right now, we are submitting information largely to the State Education Department, so I'm anticipating that this is going to have a shift to NYSERDA. So we'll see how that translates. And the second piece that I think is interesting, again, the state moving towards zero emission buses, is what they're calling NYSERDA to, in consultation with DOT, Public Service Department, many other folks, to do what they call a highway depot charging needs evaluation. So basically looking at charging capacity, particularly on highways, and what's necessary, what needs to be upgraded, things of that nature. So that's another big study that clearly we'll be watching very closely to see how that plays out in terms of not only the charging station, but the enhancement of potential power capacity across the state. So that's one we're watching very closely. There's a lot of stuff on related to the science of reading. As a school system, we have been doing a lot of stuff for a long time. The State Education Department, that's the January 2025 one, charged with ensuring that all schools have process in place to do science of reading. We've been doing a lot of stuff for a long time here at Shen. So again, just a point of emphasis. I'm sure that Dr. Wilson Turner and many of our folks will be providing some best practice models because we do have a lot of great practices here. The piece that was somewhat disappointing, and I say disappointing, was pre-K. And so right now, we are unable to spend the allocation of pre-K funds because of the low per pupil amount, and a lot of providers are saying that needs to be higher. And so a lot of advocacy wasn't for more money, but just simply increase the per pupil amount so we could actually spend it and be more attractive for providers to expand capacity. That didn't happen, and a piece that's not necessarily, didn't come out directly in this, was a lot of conversation around the lottery system, where right now it's a challenge for schools to really, and I'm going to use the word target in a very small sense of the word, families that actually need the money. And I said it to someone who was in our lottery system, and it was like, congratulations, you just got $5,000 that you're not spending now to take your kid to Disney World. That family, whose kids have never been to Disney World, can't think about Disney World, is still on our waiting list. And when I see that, I'm thinking there has to be a better process for us to target funds, particularly since we know the potential stings that comes when kids don't have access to certain things at a young age. So that wasn't directly a part of this. The piece that I'm still encouraged by is that the final budget does and directs the Commission of Education to study pre-K funding, and so we're going to see what that's going to look like, right? And clearly, certainly I know from my lens, from superintendent's lens, we're going to try to influence those conversations quite a bit to see if we can kind of get back to some of those two main pieces, and hopefully some legislative changes to address some of those things as we move forward. There's some new requirements coming down the pike. April 2026 related to school board election reporting, which I guess at some point we have to report certain things to the New York State Board of Elections, which for us, it's information we have now, so it's just a matter of who do we send it to where. That's not a problem. We send information now to BOCES, to everyone else, so there's just another additional piece that we'll certainly look to do as we move forward. A positive piece, and I think it's going to be beneficial to us. We don't have a lot of retirees here. However, the retirees that we do have, a lot of people have restrictions in terms of income restrictions. During COVID, they expanded that so retirees could work without any penalty. So that what we call a 211 waiver is going to be extended for one additional year. So we'll see how that plays out. It's certainly a beneficial piece for us as we move forward. Again, there's a lot of different things. And the last piece that that we'll be unpacking and having some continued conversation. There was an extension of the school board virtual meeting law. And so that was extended out for until July 1st, 2026. So we'll unpack that a little bit with our labor attorney, make sure that, because we went through this before with the policy, make sure that our policy is still consistent with whatever the final verbiage of that will be as we move forward. So again, there's a lot of details yet to be unraveled. And the last piece that there's a lot of talk, and last time we were here, our student rep mentioned that we had a bunch of students downtown lobbying for school lunches. They didn't put free school lunches in the budget. There were some allocations for different pockets towards offsetting the cost of free lunch. So again, not fully where I think people wanted to go, but there are some steps towards that as we move forward. So we'll be certainly looking at the details over the course of the next several weeks here. There's some things surrounding COVID leaves and some personnel pieces that we'll be unpacking with HR and things of that nature that we want to make sure that we'll be in full compliance with. I know that Becky's already addressing some stuff with some language, the state education department now with safety language, which we already have. So a lot of things are just what I call administrative type adjustments we have to make. But nothing here that I'm coming to the board to say, oh my God, I can't believe they did that, or wow, I can't believe that, I appreciate that they did do that. So pretty neutral for us.
Thank you, that's really helpful. Okay, so with that, I'm gonna move into contracts.
Action
The action items, and the first action item is A. Can I have a motion to approve the audit committee minutes? First is Jason, second is Deanna. Any comments or questions? All in favor? 4 in favor. The next item is the OSC audit report that Jason spoke to a short while ago. Can I have a motion to accept the Office of the State Controller's audit report? First is Jason, second is Petra. All in favor? Any comments or questions? All in favor? It is 4 in favor. Thank you.
I'm sorry, Naomi, I just totally forgot that Vanessa's not here.
We can go back to the recording.
No. So save me from going back to the recording.
Oh, let's see. For the first one, it was Jason and Deanna, and for the second was Petra and
Actually, Jason and
Petra. See?
JD, and PH.
Yes.
Okay. And contracts. Okay.
Okay. Now we're moving on to contracts. Okay. The first. So what I'm going to do is for the 3 items under high school instruction, I'm going to bundle them. Can I have a motion to approve the 3 high school contracts for instructional devices, CDW, G, Dell Technologies, and National Business? First is Petra, second is Jason. Any comments or questions? All in favor? It is 4 in favor. Thank you. I'm going to do the same thing for B. Can I have a motion to approve the secondary ELA contracts with IXL Learning and Scholastic Magazine? First is Petra, second is Deanna. Any comments or questions? All in favor? It is 4 in favor. Am I going too fast?
No, I'm good.
Okay, good. Thanks. All right.
Never.
Now we're at C. Okay, C for secondary science. Can I have a motion to approve the secondary science contracts with Capital Region BOCES for Smithsonian Science Kits, Explore Learning, Harris Castle Learning, EDU Tech, and Savas Learning Company? First is Jason, second is Petra. Any comments or questions? All in favor? It is 4, it's unanimous. And that's it for items to vote on, and then we're going to move into the for good of the order.
Can I make one quick comment for the board comment?
Yes, please.
So at the start of the meeting, Mrs. Chase introduced or read a brief bio, so to speak, right up that we have a newsletter on the 3 candidates. At that point, only 1 candidate was present. Joe Dragone is here. Joe was acknowledged earlier, and I certainly want to give the same privilege to the 2 other candidates that showed up after that. We have Carla Thompson, who's here, so Ms. Thompson's here. And then we have Mary Colleen Liberty, who's also here as well. So we have the 3 candidates that are vying for the 2 seats on the board present. So I just want to acknowledge that to the board.
Thank you. Okay, with that, We're gonna move into the for good of the order, and this is an opportunity for board members to share salient district-related matters, or just to give a shout out about something to share with the rest of the board. Does anybody have something that they wanna share?
Just to reiterate, a very quick shout out, Science Night was amazing. Jean said upwards of 5,000 people showed, which is incredible, and all the work that the students and the teachers put into it, as well as the community support. It was just amazing.
It is amazing. Jackson, did you have something to share? No pressure.
Festival of the Arts is this Friday. You can come.
Oh, this Friday.
Yeah, the Senate event,
What time?
5 to 8 p.m.
5 to 8. Thank you. It's High School East here?
Right here.
Right here, great, thank you. I also wanted to give a shout out for Color Guard for Mr. Scott Snell. There was a reason he was on my mind. I did go to their performance, which had all of their groups showcased. Their varsity team came in 9th in Worlds, really impressive showing. But all of their teams, the JV and the cadets, did very well. But their varsity tribute was to Robin Williams. It was just amazing. Just really a lot of thought goes into those productions. I can't imagine the hours they pour into not only practicing, but also building the sets and making it all happen. So I just wanted to shout out for that. And thank you for mentioning Science Discovery Night. I also wanted to remind everyone that it's Dr. Robinson sent out an invite for the Capital Region BOCES engagement collaboration for Board of Education members. That's next week. It's May 1st from 5 to 7:30, and I believe it's at Cap Region BOCES facility near the airport. I will actually be out of town for that event, but I don't know if everyone's had a chance to respond. So this is something I think if you can make it work, it's going to be worth your while. Please consider going. I also wanted to remind everyone that we have to be back here tomorrow at 6.
So can we, I noted on the agenda, can we just do it at the district office so we don't have to do this entire setup for what might be 10 minutes?
Thank you. Yes, I'm fine with that. I'll send, will you send something?
Yeah,
to
so,
the board members?
yeah, it's already did. So the second piece,
I mean,
does
just as
6
a
o'clock
reminder.
work for a quorum? I know we only have 4 here, but I know it's a
Yeah,
strong
I'm gonna
tonight.
be here. I'm gonna be there.
I'll be in New York City, I will not be.
You will not be here?
6 should be good.
Because I know we had one board member's ill, so that's why I just want to make sure that 6 will work.
Okay.
Augusta will be there.
6 is
Okay.
Augusta.
So it's a 10-minute meeting.
Yeah.
So it'll be at the district office.
Okay, and that was it for my shout outs and other things. So without further delay, can I have a motion to adjourn? Jason is first, Deanna is second, all in favor. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you all and good night.
Thank you.
Oh, please turn off your mics. The district office.
Yes. And I'll send a reminder just to make sure. Because like,
I
in case
know.
I have, right, get the car to drive.